עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה ותומכיה מאושר דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום.
Shalom. Our Torah portion for this week is Parshat Tazria, and it is one of the most perplexing, one of the most complex Torah portions that we have. It is a constant source of confusion and bafflement for contemporary readers. Let me read you the Hebrew and roughly translate what is written here, and you will know why. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el bnei Yisrael lemor, Isha ki Tazria veyalda zachar v'tamar shivat yamim ki me nidat dota tima, uvayom hashmini yimol basar aralato, ushloshim yom ushloshet yamim teshev bidmei tehora, b'chol kodesh lo tiga, v'el hamikdash lo tavo ad malot yamei tehora. Im nekeva teled v'tama shvuayim kenidata v'shishim yom v'sheshet yamim teshev al damei tehora. Now, I told you that this parsha is confusing and is hard for us moderns to understand. And let me give you a rough translation of what I just read in the Hebrew. Tazria tells us that when a woman gives birth to a child, that she is in a state of impurity for 1 week. And if she gives birth to a male child, she may not touch any consecrated object or come into the precinct of the sanctuary for 33 days. If she gives birth to a female child, she cannot come into the precinct of the sanctuary for a total of 66 days. And after this period, after she has finished this period of purification lasting 33 or 66 days, she is then instructed to bring to the sanctuary an olah offering, that is a burnt offering, and a chatat offering, a sin offering. And when we look at this portion and we see words like impurity and a sin offering, we are perplexed. What is the Torah trying to tell us about childbirth? Certainly it is something wonderful, it's something to celebrate, and yet here we see this period of isolation for a woman after having had that experience. Well, we modern Jews are challenged to interpret and to reinterpret some of these ancient texts, to dig into them to find a deeper, more satisfying and relevant meaning to our own contemporary situation. Recently, I heard Rabbi Ellen Weinberg-Dreyfus, the outgoing president of the Central Conference of American Rabbis, comment on this portion. She admitted it's difficult, but when she reflected on it, she said that when she gave birth to her children, it was an amazing time in her life, that it was a transformative time in her life, in which she felt that she was in a hyper state of holiness, of sacredness. And so she said that the word, or she implied that the word tumah did not mean impure, it meant this extra intensive state of holiness. Now, another colleague of mine, Rabbi Shefa Gold, understands this portion in a very unique way. She sees she sees that this portion tells us about the process of creation, of creativity, and that when people are involved in a creative process, and what could be more creative than giving birth to a child, that there is an intensive spiritual experience. Let me read you what she has to say about Tazria. She says, Tazria begins by discussing the condition of a woman immediately after childbirth. She is blessed with a time of separation and then given a path for returning. I understand this condition not only in the context of childbirth, she writes, but in regards to the creative process. During a time of intense creative output, as with childbirth, a person steps outside the boundaries of time and space. She touches the realm between the worlds where Ayin, that is nothingness, gives birth to Yesh, existence. In that place between worlds, she is completely taken up in the process of birth. The artist lives inside the poem, painting, or song, and the rest of the world, for a time, falls away. The blessing of Tazria is in knowing that there will be again a way of returning to the community, to normal life. The time of alienation, which is necessary for the creative process to unfold, is also finite. The artist may return and bring with her the riches that she has mined and be reintegrated, welcomed back, and appreciated in her community. So what we have here is two understandings of the spiritual experience. One is calming, one is to be enveloped by the community, to feel a oneness with God, a sense of peacefulness. I suppose that would be the experience of spirituality we have when we enter a temple or synagogue. And then there is another type of spirituality that we feel in the process of creation. In the creation story in Genesis, the word to separate is found in at least a half a dozen forms and in half a dozen places. The creative process is one that is often violent. It's one that is in which creative destruction happens, and sometimes a person needs to be away from the norm, away from his or her community for a while, and then to come back with new insights. And when Tazria says that you bring a sin offering, to me this means that we have to understand that when we are engaged in that creative process, we are violating that injunction not to break away from the community, not to be in isolation of the community, and even though it might be necessary for a while. And we become reintegrated. We come back to the community with that sense of having broken things apart, put them back together, and with new insights and new enthusiasm for community life. Well, I hope you read this Torah portion and come up with your own interesting ideas, and I'd sure like to hear from you if you have a different or a unique take on this very interesting Parshat Tazria. Shabbat Shalom.